Hey, what's up, guys? Tegan here from tgastrophotography.com. Today we are going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on narrowband combination in PixInsight, specifically HA and O3. My goal here is to emphasize the O3 data and make it pop through the HA data. I always found that my HA data would completely overpower my O3 data, and my O3 data would be like a muted gray, and my HA data, whether it be red or orange, would completely and utterly overpower my O3 data. And it seemed like taking 10, 12, 15 hours of O3 data, especially through like a 7 nanometer filter or 8.5 nanometer filter, was pointless. So what we're going to be doing is masking the O3 nebulosity, brightening it, increasing the values, the midtones, and then combining with the HA data just so that that O3 data really pops through and isn't overwhelmed with the HA. Overwhelmed by the HA data. This is going to be solely a PixInsight process. It should be short, easy to follow, so minimal experience required. I just thought it helped me improve my images completely and get the color that I wanted. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'm working with the Eagle Nebula. I have the HA data here. It's fairly strong, and the O3 data, which I found is also fairly strong. But I also got, I think, 20 hours of each, maybe 15. And integration is key. The more integration, more time that you get, especially in your weaker signal filters, you will have a much easier time in post processing. So these are already star aligned and ready to combine. Oh, well, you can't see it there, but yes, these are already star aligned and ready to combine. And I don't like using STF to stretch my images. I like to stretch before, use histogram transformation. I'm sorry, but I like to stretch before I combine because I've always had issue getting the color that I want out if you combine first and then stretching and then stretch. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the HA data, and I'm gonna increase until I feel like it. I'd say about right there, and then same with the O3 data. And you can really kind of destroy your O3 data here on your stretch, because at the end of this tutorial, we're going to overlay the HA data anyways, so noise coming from your O3 will not be a factor. And that's what I found. That was the best thing. My images were always so noisy because my O3 data was so minimal, and my final images were just grainy, and I never understood how these people did it. And I think I found a solution. So we're going to go ahead and really get that O3 data to pop out. And I like that right there. So what we're going to do now, like I said, we're going to mask the background and increase the nebulosity only. So I use a range mask for processes, range selection. I'm going to keep the O3 data. I'm not going to talk about HDR, multi-scale transform, or deconvolution and sharpening. That should already be done to your HA image before you combine. So back to range selection. I'm going to go ahead and do a live view. And what you don't want these harsh edges like so, because you'll increase the brightness of your stars, which will give you blue halos, and you'll get these hard edges right here, which will make it'll come up with weird artifacts, and it won't look natural. So the smoothness layer, the smoothness slider is your best friend. So here the white parts are going to be highlighted the most. The black parts aren't going to be touched, and these in between parts, I think, are the most important parts. It's where your HA and your O3 are going to blend together, and it's going to give you an amazing amount of depth. So you want them to show, but you don't want them to show too much, or it'll just completely look unnatural. So I think that looks pretty good. You can mess with this slider. Um, I'm sorry, these sliders were already kind of janky here. Let's start at the beginning. I'm sorry. So we'll go lower limit, and you can see just the hard edges, and it's way too contrasty from the light and the dark. So go ahead and smooth that out. And then go ahead and do the fuzziness layer, which really gives you a dynamic range. I'd say even more. You don't want the core, because if it's completely white, like so, almost it's way oversaturated, your your blues are going to pop out a little too much. So this takes practice. You're going to find a good balance. You want a nice blend from your background to your nebulosity. So just keep messing with these sliders a little bit. You know what? For time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and continue with that. Just you want to make sure it feathers nicely into the background. You want these areas to blend. You just don't want hard edges. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and apply this to the mask, and you'll see here it will pop up and show you like this. I hit show mask before this process. So you'll see when you show mask, you'll have this red area. This will be completely untouched. But then you'll see like this darker red area and then this white area. This untouched area in the middle is what's going to be brightened the most, as I said. And then this layer out here kind of fading into the background will be the brightness will be slightly increased when we do the histogram transformation. So make sure your mask is applied. It'll be brown over here when it's applied. And go ahead and hit show mask. And we're going to go do a histogram transformation. Reset the settings. And here we're going to do a live view. And when we move the slider up, you won't see the background being touched at all, but you'll see that region that we did highlight. And you can just continuously up the brightness. If you do it too much, it'll look unnatural. If you don't do it enough, it's not going to show through. And again, this takes a little trial and error. I would say a little bit on the brighter side if you really want to emphasize that O3 data. So, like I said, it's all to your judgment. I'm gonna go here. You want to make sure that especially these areas right here are brightened a little bit, this outside wispies, because that's what's really going to create the depth in your image. And go ahead and apply it. All right, exit out of that. Keep your range mask, otherwise it won't. If you exit it out, it won't be applied to your image. So now we have the O3 data, HA data, I'm sorry, and the O3 data. And you can see here the O3 data is brighter than the HA data, but that's okay because we're going to be overlaying the HA data at the end. So now we're ready to combine the two. I do PixInsight, Pixel Math, I'm sorry. And I already have the settings, but we'll go ahead and start from the beginning. You want to uncheck single RGBK expression and go to expression editor. And so for the red channel, so we're going to be doing the SHO palette, and the red channel, no, I'm sorry, the SHO palette is green, I think is assigned to HA. This is only bicolor. So anyways, for the red channel, you want to map your HA data. For your blue channel, you want to map your O3 data. For your green channel, we're going to do a combination of both. And you want to do an open parentheses, HA data. You want to do the asterisk times 0.5, this, and close parentheses. And these will get, this equation will get you the blue and orange. If you do like 0.1 and 0.1, you'll get like blues and reds. If you do 0.9 and 0.9, you'll get like really green hues. So I found 0.5, 0.4 is the perfect medium for those blue and orange images that you're probably looking for. So go do plus, open parentheses. You're going to want to select your O3 stack, multiply that, and then do the little tilde sign. I saw this on another tutorial. I wish I could accredit it to the correct person, but off the top of my head, I cannot remember for the life of me who showed me this. The tilde sign doesn't make a huge difference. I find that it blends the images better. It gives me the blue and the orange tone. I feel like maybe this without it, I get more of a reddish tone. So I've always added it. It's always worked. You can experiment. I'm going to do times the tilde squiggly sign 0.5 close parentheses. So here you have the Eagle Nebula, or the HA data, times 0.5 plus the Eagle Nebula O3 data times tilde 0.5. Go ahead and hit OK. Down here you want to do create a new image. Let's do Eagle Bicolor, and I don't think it allows spaces, so don't even try there. And make sure your color space is RGB, because otherwise, if it's same as target, then you will get a monochrome image. And I'll go ahead and apply this and then compare it to an O3 data that has not been enhanced. So here you can definitely see the blue hues coming out. I do all color correction, saturation in Photoshop. And here you can definitely see the HA showing, but there's a beautiful blend, especially out here. You can still see the O3 data kind of overlaying the HA data, giving it a multi-dimensional look. That's almost perfect in my opinion, combination wise. So I'm going to put this one aside, and I'm going to go over to the O3 data and pretend that I didn't use a mask to stretch it. And sorry, I'm going to remove this mask. So pretend you just stretched it as it was, and we're going to go ahead and apply. And now you can totally see that the center of this nebula is not blue. It's just a muted orange. You don't get the O3 data that you're looking for. And your stars have nice color, but you're going to be left with a an image with weak O3 signal. It's not going to get you the depth that you want. Personally, that's me speaking. Some people might like this kind of muted O3 look. It might look more natural to others, but I prefer the O3 to really pop. I'm going to close that, and we're going to continue working on this image. Now, if you're worried about noise, let's say your O3 data, you only got 2 hours of O3 data, and you really have to stretch it and make it noisy. That's not a big deal, because what we can do is we can convolute this image, and what it does is it blurs this entire image. You can go to convolute, process convolution, and do a live view. And as you increase the standard deviation, you can see how it just blurs everything, and that will completely get rid of the noise. You want to blur it until you don't see any noise in your image. Go ahead and apply it. Okay, close it, and now you can see smooth as butter, but obviously you're going to lose a lot of detail. So that's not your final image. Now what we want to do is, since your HA data is usually the smoothest of the HA or O3, see there's hardly any noise in this area. What you want to do is go to LRGB combination, sorry, all processes, LRGB combination. And now we're going to use our original O3 data as a luminance data, or a luminance layer. So select HA registered, okay. Now, I like to push it to saturation a little bit. To the left is increasing the saturation, to the right would be decreasing it, same with the lightness slider. I like to make it a little bit on the dark side, and go ahead and apply it. And this should really make the pillars pop as well. Oh, there we go. Yeah, wow. Huge difference here. And I haven't even done deconvolution or HDR, multi-scale transform, or sharpening. And you can just see how the O3 pops and the pillars pop out. You can see the HA data well, and it's all thanks to that mask O3 nebulosity increase and the overlaying of the HA data. It makes all the difference. So yeah, I usually from this point on I'll save it and go into Photoshop and do my color corrections, my saturations from there. But I just wanted to show you guys that even if you have just a little O3 data, it is possible. You just have to stretch the O3 data. The more data you have, the less you have to stretch your O3 data. The less you have, you're going to really have to pull out that little bit of nebulosity that you do have. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the way this looks, and I'll be putting on more tutorials like this on my page. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really hope this helped. I hope you guys could follow along. This is my first video, so they will get better, I promise. But thank you guys for tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments, direct message me. I'm on Instagram. Um, I'm on Facebook too, as Tegan Graywell Astrophotography. Any questions that you guys might have, I'd love to go through post-processing tutorial. You can send me your data if you'd like, and I'll personally edit it for you and send you a video as well. I know how much trouble that I had when I first started, especially in post-processing. This hobby is a chore, as you probably know. So any way that I can help, please feel free to ask. I'd be glad to. So thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, share, and as Neil deGrasse Tyson always says, keep looking up.